So I'm on the Twitter streets over this fine holiday weekend. First, I want to get to this super generous super chat before I get into my story. Cardinal Sin, 96, $15. Thank you so much, Cardinal Sin. As of right now, do either of you see Tune or McCoy starting in Washington? Perfect transition, Cardinal Sin. Preseason should be fun for this reason. I feel sticking out the most. Great content as always. Well, thank you so much, Cardinal Sin. If you're around for the preseason, we're going to be doing plenty of content. Mr. Bo Brack will be at training camp every day. Go say hello to my better half on my right if you're out at training camp. And we're going to talk about Clayton Tune right now because I'm on the Twitter streets this weekend. And I see a little report from our friends at Roto World, NBC Sports, that said Clayton Tune could be in line to start for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm like, that's weird because I haven't had a chance to talk to Bo lately. And I know you and I, maybe we want that. I don't know if we feel like that's on the horizon or not. Maybe Bo has information he's not sharing with me. So I click on the article, and with all due respect to Bob McManaman, Arizona Republic's Bob McManaman, that's basically where NBC Sports got this information was from Bob. And this is what's from the blurb from Bob is on Clayton Tune potentially starting over Colt McCoy. All anyone knows for sure is with Kyler Murray expected to miss the portion of next season, and Colt McCoy being an obvious injury risk, which this show has obviously pointed out, the door could swing, emphasis on could swing open for Tune to experience his own Brock Purdy type opportunity. Considering the offense, the Cardinals wouldn't have to change much if Tune were left to run the show. And then there's a bunch of stuff about his 40 time and things that are not relevant. But so if you're scoring at home, your bingo at home, it's Clayton Tune, Brock Purdy in the same article. Let's check that off real quick here. But with all due respect to Bob McManaman, I'm going to turn it to my better half, my partner in crime on my left here, to debunk this theory.
Yeah. I'll say this. Clayton Tune's going to have a tremendous opportunity to win a job this training camp. And it's the backup quarterback position. Okay. I really don't get the sense that the Arizona Cardinals are going to give him the keys to Drew Petzing's offense week one. I really just don't see this. Now, if you follow this, if you just peel back the onion on this RotoWire? Sorry.
Yeah.
Article. I mean, it was from an AZ Central article from May 7th. There's been a lot of practices since then. We've seen Clayton Tune primarily practicing with the twos, and that's fantastic. I think that the Arizona Cardinals want him to outright win the backup spot to Colt McCoy, the incumbent from last year as the backup to Kyler Murray, out of training camp in preseason. But I just don't see it. I'm here with Blaine Clark. No chance. Tune is starting is a long shot. He is a good athlete. I guess he's going against this, but I just don't think it's really going to be an opportunity for him to win this thing outright, this starting job. And, I've seen a lot of his practices and it's been uneven. But you obviously see the skill set, but to go from a 5th round pick playing in the conference that Houston does, it's not a Power 5 conference, for him to go in there, even with all the production for the Cougars at the collegiate level, I think it's unrealistic. I mean, even Brock Purdy was playing in the Big 12. He needed some seasoning on the practice side of things before really jumping in there for San Francisco. That was in way better shape offensively. Offensive line skill positions, probably the best skill positions in the NFL, certainly helped. Arizona Cardinals, needless to say, not in that spot. I just don't think it's conducive to a 5th round pick at a Houston starting. But I think it's somebody that the Arizona Cardinals have high aspirations for. And like, I don't want to crush the guy when I think that they think he can be the backup to Kyler Murray for a long time to come.
I mean, if he's the backup for Kyler Murray long term, that's a good 5th round pick, right? If you can stick around, if he becomes Chase Daniel, right, who has helped Kansas City win some games in substitution of Patrick Mahomes.
You guys made $70 million.
Yeah, he's had a good living if you can get it. In any given Sunday, remember Al Pacino? He started Dennis Quaid, Jack Rooney over Jamie Foxx, Willie Beeman. Well, why did he do that? Not because, crusty old Dennis Quaid was better than Willie Beeman, but it was because of experience. They were going into that playoff game. It's like, we can't just thrust Willie Beeman out here. And it's a certain rendition of what the Cardinals are doing. The Cardinals are on the road in Washington for a team that, we think they're going to have some struggles because it's a new regime. The roster has been turned over and they're still going through a rebuild, right? And it's a new offense and a new defense. So the smart conventional play is to go with the veteran. Now, I will put a big fat asterisk to this, Bo Brack, that if Clayton Tune comes out and starts preseason games, let's say they're not going to play Colt McCoy in the preseason. Let's say my shoulder's a little achy, right? And he's like, I could play, I'm just not going to. And Clayton Tune comes out and has a phenomenal, not great, but phenomenal 3-week span in the preseason. I think there's an opportunity there. That's the only way it's happening, is when you get on the field, because you can see all the practice reps you want. And some guys are just different when the games start. And if he's out there scrambling around and making plays, he might force the issue. But right now, it is penned in ink for Colt McCoy to start week 1 in Washington. But to Bob's point, and I hate to knock on Bob because it is an older article, if Colt McCoy goes down, anything's possible. I do not want to see Jeff Driscoll take snaps. I don't want to see David Blau take snaps. I think the best setup for Clayton Tune is Colt McCoy starts the season. If Colt McCoy goes down or if Colt McCoy struggles, it's easy then to insert Clayton Tune and say, okay, this is what we got. This is the alternative. But it's hard to go straight to Clayton Tune without giving Colt McCoy an opportunity if you're Drew Petzing and Jonathan Gannon. So I would love to see it because I'm here for the chaos. I want to be jazzed up on Sunday mornings and Sunday afternoons. I've seen enough of Colt McCoy these past few years. But for JG and Jonathan Gannon, who want to do what? Play good defense and run the football, Clayton Tune represents maybe some turnovers, whereas Colt McCoy might represent a 3-and-out, and we're going to punt and change field position.
I think to everybody saying in the chat that Colt's wash and he's given 2 games max. It's like, even if you get 2 games of Colt McCoy and you get two weeks of Clayton Tune prepping to be a starter and to just prepare as an NFL player, go through a couple practices beyond mini camps, preseason training camp, and all that is going to be fantastic for the young man. But I think that it's to throw him to the Wolves week 1, to throw him to Chase Young, to throw him to Daron Payne. I think that would be borderline irresponsible. I know that he played a lot at Houston, who also played a lot at the collegiate level, Desmond Ridder. And Desmond Ridder was, I don't think anybody could deny, a 3rd round pick, that he was a bit overmatched. And we still don't know what to expect from Desmond Ridder.
Malik Willis played a lot at Liberty, a lot at Liberty, and was just was completely overwhelmed last year for Tennessee. And he didn't start the season for Tennessee. I mean, these coaches are with these guys every day.
I'm with Rhett Brown here. He says Colt has some in the tank. I think Colt, he will be healthy for the most part, depending on how they get him ready during the preseason. I don't expect him to get, a ton of reps in games and take too many shots. 37 years old. I understand the skepticism as far as his ability to stay healthy, but when we've seen Colt McCoy with time to prepare, and I just don't know if there's a quarterback right now that's healthy that could run Petzing's offense as well as Colt right now. And that's not a great, testament to the Arizona Cardinals, right? And where they are currently, but that's just facts.
Yeah, I agree with that. So there's a message earlier, or a chat from earlier that I want to go back to, and producer Shane, you don't have to grab it, but somebody pointed out 98.7 had put out that they think Kyler Murray is going to be back between weeks 5 and week 8, which is what has been consistent with this program. And our thought process is Kyler Murray's got a good chance to come back early to mid-October is what we're kind of banking on. And I do think Colt McCoy early in the season could be a nice bridge to that. Now, do I think he's going to go 5-0 if Kyler Murray comes back in week 5? No. But I mean, how many times over the course of these last couple years have there been fans that said, well, let's just let Colt McCoy play until he's not hot anymore. Ride the hot hand, right? Those were conversations that were happening. I mean, Colt McCoy, let's just say a hypothetical here, and they've got some winnable, obtainable games early in their schedule, playing the NFC East, for God's sakes. If Colt McCoy plays 5 games and goes 2-3, and you hand it off to Kyler Murray, and suddenly there's going to be a lot of people feeling a lot better about this 2023 season, albeit in a rebuilding year. Now, is Colt McCoy going 0-5? And is it a disaster? And then at that point, do you hold off bringing back Kyler Murray if it looks ugly? I think a lot of this depends on the optics, but I would be surprised if before Kyler Murray comes back, we don't get a couple, hey, Colt McCoy looked good on this day. It may not lead directly to wins, but how many times has Colt McCoy looked awful in the Arizona Cardinal uniform? It's just he doesn't blow us away. It's like 2 touchdowns a pick, 1 touchdown a pick.
I think that's a bit rhetorical. I don't think he's looked he's had some bad games. Obviously, he's been overmatched as far as what he's had. Was there any point where like the Arizona Cardinals outright lost the game because of Colt
Well, that's
McCoy?
what I'm saying. I don't think that that's the case. I think he is what he is.
Better than Colt. Like, that's absurd. Blau is 0-7 as a starter in his career.
Well, I think I'll back up Blaine here. Blau looked pretty good in Atlanta and at least can move around a little bit. But that was two teams at the end of the year waving the white flag. Whereas
he's won 3 football games of the last 2 seasons, 6 starts. Like, and I think nobody's going to prepare better than him. Nobody's going to have his offense more prepared. He's going to have his defense prepared. Like Colt McCoy right now, like he's the quintessential backup quarterback. That's what people can't lose sight of. He's the backup. He's the backup to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's is on the mend.
I mean, 2 years ago when he came to this team, people were lauding it as the best free agent addition this team's made in forever because he kept that season alive for them. And at that point, Bo, he hadn't been a backup. He had been a sub-starter competing for starting jobs. And so I do think this is where he's supposed to be. Yeah. Now, and I can also push back, and we had gotten some intel early in the offseason that they were talking to Joshua Dobbs. They've watched enough tape of Colt McCoy that they obviously feel comfortable with Colt McCoy. That's not breaking news here. But anybody like a Dobbs-esque kind of player, outside of you get some mobility with Dobbs or Jacoby Brissett or even Gardner Minshew, they feel like Colt's in that same category. That's what they're telling you with their actions here. Is we believe Colt and Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett and Joshua Dobbs, they're all in this big pot together, and some guys do certain things better, can move around. Whereas Colt McCoy, and we saw it last year, he had a couple plays against the LA Rams where he can beat you with his intellect, and they value that.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's just a matter of can a guy at 37, as we look at 5 to 8 weeks potentially, that's a grind. I mean, to even on the shorter end of that, 5 is asking a lot from a guy that's gone through it, neck, calf, multiple throwing arm injuries that he's dealt with. So claims he's healthy, but it's such a rigorous game. He takes one bad hit, and he's done. So regardless, like I said, I think Tune's going to have a really good opportunity to be his backup. And with that being said, there's going to be, you'd have to imagine if he's playing even 5 games, he's going to have an opportunity to get in there and run this offense.
And now with the additions of the extra quarterback that they can hold on the roster with the rule changes, I think it's going to be Colt McCoy and Clayton Tune and Kyler Murray, once we hit the tail end of the season. But Colt's just never going to be my ride or die. Unlike my friends at Circle K, we're so excited. He's basically an average convenience store, whereas I'm ready to do a long-term deal with Circle K because we're excited about our partnership. Check out your local Circle K for the best coffee, beer, snack selection.